We've been talking about this, about how we leave no one behind. And we've actually been talking to you about some of the suggestions that we could make for people on how do people do this. So could you talk us a little bit through that? What are some of the suggestions and what does it really mean, to leave no one behind?
Well, I think it's something that we've been talking about for decades. That, everybody should move together, all of us are united, all of that. But the pandemic has really shown us that unless every single person is protected, nobody is protected. And if that's the case, then you simply have to stop invisibilizing so much of society that you normally do. And so in this case, I think the profound effect it has had on other parts of our lives, whether it's sport, whether it's literacy, whether it's environment, whatever it could be, if we can learn this lesson, that you have to believe in equity over equality, equity and take everybody along so that everybody can move together. Civilizationally, we won't take a step forward if we don't do that. So that's what I mean. And it's easy to say this, in theory, but in practice, everybody on the screen is going to turn around and say, okay, fine, I buy what you're saying, but how can I contribute in my life to make sure, we leave no one behind? And so, I have implemented a few things, which is what I'm going to share with you. It's not rocket science. For example, in the office, in fact, I'm on the board of Indian Rugby now, and we have a mediclaim policy for all players, and we have a injury policy for all players. And in my office, everybody has been done mediclaim for, as well as their families. The second is, again, another real-life example. One of our boys used to work in the office just to help us with, fetching and carrying. And one day, he and I had a chat, and I said, what do you want to do? And we are sitting in a studio right now, like the kinds of which he said, I'd like to become an editor. So he became an online editor, and today he's earning in multiples of what we used to pay him. So he's now an online editor with a very popular and big media company. The other thing that I have done personally in the past is looked at the women who work with us and say, what can we do here? And I came across this, the car aggregators that, a lot of people have been become drivers and things. And there are some for women. So I said, look, do you want to drive? Do you want to learn how to drive? Do you want to do this? And so, yes, she did have a chat with her family and she learned how to drive. And today she's, working with one of the cab aggregator companies. In terms of sport, which, is one of my soft spots, there are so many grounds I got to know that governments have across cities and states. There are so many grounds that schools have. There are so many grounds and playgrounds that colonies have that lie basically unused in the after hours. So let's say a school operates and uses the ground from 7 to 9 in the morning. उसके बाद बच्चे जाते हैं अंदर, पढ़ाई करने के लिए तो खाली रहता है ग्राउंड. शाम को they probably use it from 3 to 5. उसके बाद भी खाली रहता है. So why can't you give us these grounds and let boys and girls who don't have access to playing facilities to play there? These are really simple things that even as a parent of a child, you can go into your school, you can go into the colony, you can go into the building society and say, देखो ये तो बिल्कुल खाली है. Why don't we use this, give it to people to use, provided we are comfortable, they can utilize these facilities. That's kind of an aggregation, if you know what I mean, of spaces that are available that we don't do. So it's all of this. And finally, this is advertisements all over, but I think given the fact that we are who we are, to tip generously, to give the extra money, especially during the pandemic, it really goes a long way in the building, in the colony, to just open just a little bit. It's such a small thing, but I think it shows a sensitivity that we need to, all of us need to display just a little bit more of in these times and forever after this. I think we should not stop. This should be something that should continue.
Yeah, actually, very good points, and I hope people listen to you and actually implement that. Well done, yeah.